Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, Math Made Easy with Terry in 10 minutes. So we're going to talk about solving quadratic with complex numbers. So it's very important that you review previous video, especially how to solve quadratic using completing the square or quadratic formula. I have a complete series on that. But I'm going to just focus on quadratic questions that have to do with complex numbers. All right. So before I proceed, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you've not clicked the notification bell, I don't know what you're waiting for. Please do so that when I post new videos, you'll be the first person to know. All right, so let's just get cracking into this and see what we have. We have an example here, all right? Okay, we're told to solve the following quadratics by completing the square. By complete the square method. Or quadratic formula. Okay, and what we have it as y is equal to 10x squared minus, sorry, not y, we're told, we have 10x squared minus 4x plus 10 is equal to what? 0. Okay, so we're told that we should solve this using completing the square quadratic. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, because I'm gonna solve it with both methods. Okay, so I'm gonna solve it with the formula method, and I'm going to solve it with the complete the square method. All right, so we're gonna do it both of them. So let's see what we have here. So we have this. So let's assume we want to use the formula. So I'm going to call this method 1. So we're going to use the formula to solve this and see what we get. I remember the formula, we have it as minus b plus or minus square root of what? B squared minus 4ac, all divided by what? 2a. So we talked about this earlier, right? So please, if you've not watched my video on quadratics formula, please, this is a very good time to just pause this video and go back and have a watch of those videos. So now in this case, we know our A is going to be equal to 10, all right? Our B is going to be equal to minus 4. And our C is going to be equal to what? 10, all right? So you're going to put it here. So it's going to be equal to, it's going to be minus 4 plus or minus square root of minus 4 squared minus 4 times 10 times the C is also what? 10. Okay. All divided by 2 into bracket. A is what? 10. Now, when you go to press this in your calculator, minus times minus will give you plus. So that'll be plus 4. Now, this is going to give you 400 minus 16. And that will give you minus square root of what? Minus 384 divided by 2 times 10 will give you 20. Okay, so as usual, you already know what time it is. So it's already you're having a complex number here because you can't find the square root of 384. Okay, so we've talked about this earlier. So we can now break down 384. So square root of minus 384 is going to be something as a square root of minus 1 times square root of what? 384. Are you seeing it? So minus 1 is going to be I. So it's going to be square root of 384I. And when you find the square root of 384 sorts, it's going to give you 8 root 6. So it's going to be 8 root 6I. So that means I can rewrite this now to be 4 plus or minus 8 root 6I, all divided by what? 20. Also, I also explained to you when you're dividing, you can divide each of them. So when you're dividing complex numbers, so it's going to be the same thing as saying 4 plus 8 root 6i divided by 20, or it's going to be 4 minus 8 root 6i divided by what? 20. So you can separate this, okay? So it's going to be 4 over 20 plus 8 over 20, right? Square root of 6i, all right? Or you can have it as 4 over 20 minus 8 over 20 square root of 6i. So 4 over 20 is going to give us 0.2 plus 8 over 20 is going to give us 0.4 square root of 6i, all right? And that'll be the answer for that. Or it's going to give us 0.2 minus 0.4 square root of 6i. Are you seeing it? So remember, when we're doing quadratic equation, if we had gotten to this point here, we'll have said no solution. Okay? Because we can't find square root of minus 384. We'll say no solution and we'll stop. But because now we are big boys and girls, now it's complex numbers, so we can now solve this. All right? So when we're talking about quadratic equation, I say no solution. But when we're talking about complex numbers, there is a solution for it. All right, so let's go to the next one. So I can use the quadratic formula. You can use quadratic formula method to solve this straight away. So, but I can decide to then use complete the square method here. So the method 2, okay, we can use complete the square. So I've explained the concept before. So we had 10x squared minus 4x plus 10 is equal to what? 0, okay? So as usual, you factorize, so it's going to give us 10 into bracket x squared minus 4 over 10 x plus 10 is equal to what? 0. So as usual, you then apply the completing the square to the one in the bracket. So you then have x squared minus 4 over 10x. So it's going to be, I told you open two brackets, okay? You have x. The half of this is going to be minus 4 over 20 all squared. Then you then minus the half of the half number you had is going to give you 4 over 20, but you then what? Square it. So I talked about the method of complete the square in the quadratic equation formula. Please, series, I beg your pardon. So it's very important that you go back and watch the video of how do you do the completing the square. And this is for when a is greater than 1, okay? So when a is not equal to 1, so this is how you solve it. And I told you that you factorize, and I gave you the methods and steps on how to do it. So it's very important you go back and do that. So when you're done, you take all this and you bring it back here. So it's going to give you 10 into bracket x minus 4 over 20 all squared minus 4 over 20 all squared, close bracket, plus 10 is equal to 0, okay? Then the next thing you do, you open the bracket. So it's going to give us 10 into bracket x minus 4 over 20 all squared minus 10 into bracket 4 over 20 squared plus 10 equal to 0. Now, when you press this in your calculator, it's going to give you minus 2 over 5 plus 10, all 10 x minus 4 over 20 all squared equal to 0. Okay? Now, minus 2 over 5 plus 10 is going to give you plus 48 over 5 equal to 0. Then we have 10 x minus 4 over 20 all what? Squared. Now we take this to the other side. So it's going to give us 10 into bracket x minus 4 over 20 all squared is equal to minus, okay, 48 divided by what? 5. Now to get rid of this 10, I multiply both sides by 1 over 10. Multiply both sides by 1 over 10. So this is going to cancel that. So you're going to have x minus 4 over 20 all squared is going to be equal to minus 48 divided by what? 50. Now, to get rid of this, I have to take the square root of both sides. So the square root here and the square root there. So this will cancel this. So the square root is plus or minus. So it's going to give me x minus 4 over 20 is equal to plus or minus square root of minus 48 divided by what? 50. Are you seeing it? So the same thing. I'll take minus 4 over 20 to the other side. So we have x is going to give us 4 over 20, okay? Plus or minus square root of minus 48 over 50. Is that making sense? So I can apply the laws here. So we can then have, remember I told you in laws of sorts, so square root of a over b is going to be equal to square root of a divided by square root of b, right? So I'm going to apply that here. We're going to have x will be equal to 4 over 20 plus or minus square root of minus 48 divided by square root of what? 50. Now, and that will give us 4 over 20 plus or minus square root of minus 48. Square root of 50 is going to give us 5 root 2. Now, square root of minus 48, we have to break that down, okay? Because it's negative. So we're having complex numbers now. Minus 48 is going to be square root of minus 1 times square root of what? 48. Minus 1 is equal to I times square root of 48. Square root of 48 is still the same thing as saying 4 root 3 times I. So that will give you 4 root 3I. So we can now say that x will be equal to 4 over 20 plus or minus 4 root 3I divided by 5 root 2. Are you seeing it? Now, we can then push this forward if you want to. Now, because we have this as root 2, I told you the concept of conjugates. So I told you that when you have a over root b, or let's put it this way, when you have a over b root c, okay? To remove the root c, you multiply both sides by root c over root c. Do you remember? And that will give us a root c over bc. So we talked about this in sorts. So please go back and have a look again about the rules of sorts. I gave you several rules of sorts and I gave you several rules of indices. So please go back and have a look in the playlist. So to get rid of this root 2, I'm going to multiply both sides by what? Root 2 over 2. And that'll give us plus or minus. That'll give me 4 root 6I divided by 10, because root 2 times root 2 will give you 2. 2 times 5 will give you 10. And that'll give you 4 over what? 20 is equal to what? X. Okay? So then we can now simplify this. So x is going to be equal to, we can have it as 4 over 20 plus 4 root 6I over 10, or it could be 4 over 20 minus 4 root 6I over what? 10. So when you now do that, 4 divided by 20 is going to give us 0.2 plus 4 over 10 is going to give us 0.4 root, or let me put it this way so that students will not get confused. So I can still write it again as x is equal to 4 over 20 plus 4 over 10 root 6I. Does that make sense? So that's what I was trying to solve there. Or 4 over 20 minus 4 over 10 root 6I. All right? Then you do that, and then you get 4 divided by 20. When you press your calculator, is going to give you 0.2 plus 0.4 root 6i, first one, or it's going to give you 0.2 minus 0.4 root 6i. All right, and that is how you solve questions like that. So you can see I decided to use complete the square, which is a little bit longer, and I got the same thing as when I used the quadratic formula. So it's still the same thing. You just remember I told you in that series that the quadratic formula is a derivative using the completing the square method, right? So you can use both of them. So what I want you to do, I'm going to write some questions here. I want you to go back. I want you to try and see if you get the same thing with your friends, or you can put it in the comment section and someone or any of the subscribers or the viewers can check if you're doing the right thing. Okay, so let's see. Let's assume we have this question here. Number one, we want you to solve x squared minus 6x plus 12, okay, equal to 0. Number two, we want you to solve 5x squared minus 2x plus 5 is equal to 0. Number three, I want you to try 4b squared minus 3b plus 2 is equal to 0, okay? So I want you to try these three questions and see if you get the same thing. And if not, you can send me an email and we'll have a discussion about it and I'll show you how to do it, okay? Thank you very much. And that is that for that. I'm going to see you in the next video. And if you have any question, please don't hesitate to send me an email and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. See you soon.